Many of you in my constituency will be getting some fairly bad news. It's news I think many of us were expecting, but to actually hear it, it's tough. And that's that for the first time in its 108-year history, the Calgary Stampede will be canceled. So for those of you who are across the country who you might not understand what this means, it's a really big deal. The Stampede has never been canceled, and my community has gone through very difficult times over the course of its 108-year history, and we've never had a situation like this. So I just wanted to talk to my constituents because I know this is hard for me. It's hard for me to process because every day I'm getting a tsunami of your calls, the feelings of just frustration and anger and hopelessness, and hearing loud and clear that we need a plan to reopen the economy. So I want to give you my statement. I have already written to Prime Minister Trudeau on this. I'm going to read you the letter I sent to him. You can read it for yourself on the link that I've got at the top of this video. And then I'm going to talk about the broader concerns with regard to our economy in Canada right now. So this is the letter that I wrote to Justin Trudeau. So Justin Trudeau, if somehow you're listening, or if you're a Trudeau staffer that is listening, this is my appeal to you. Through hell or high water. This was the rallying cry of Calgarians following the devastating floods that tore through the heart of my city in 2013. As the waters receded and the scale of the damage became apparent, Calgarians rallied around their community and achieved the impossible. The greatest outdoor show on earth went on, just as it had every year for more than a century before. I believe you attended that year. Today we found out that for the first time in its 108-year history, this year the show won't go on. The Calgary Stampede, an organization that showcases the soul and the heritage of my city, faces a multifaceted, daunting challenge. The COVID-19 pandemic, which poses a threat to the health of thousands of Canadians and has resulted in so many deaths, has necessitated the closure of this great Albertan institution for the first time in its history. The collapse of the energy sector, as a result not only of the COVID-19 related drop in demand and the Saudi-Russia price war, but of the punitive policies of your government, has left hundreds of thousands unemployed. When I was first told that the Stampede would be canceled, and of the dire circumstances that the organization finds itself in today, I admit that I was devastated. This is because no matter how bad it has gotten in my city, and no matter what has been thrown at us, every year, the Stampede has allowed us to come together and to celebrate who Albertans are. A stubborn, strong people who overcome everything, and who are fiercely proud of our Western roots and our heritage. The flood of 2013 represented the high water that we overcame, but now we must overcome this hell. For so many reasons, Canada as a whole cannot allow the Calgary Stampede to fail. It must be supported so that it can come back better than ever in years to come. Stampede Park welcomes over 4 million visitors from around the world throughout the year for sporting events, concerts, trade shows, conventions, and yes, the greatest outdoor show on earth. The Calgary Stampede employs thousands of Calgarians and generates $700 million in economic benefit to Canada, of which $540 million directly supports Alberta's restaurants, hotels, and businesses each year. The Calgary Stampede Foundation is among the most recognized and respected charitable organizations in Alberta, investing $2.7 million annually to programs that positively impact our community. While it is true and understandable that the threat of COVID-19 means that the Stampede can't safely happen in 2020, the fallout from both the virus and the collapse of the energy sector have the potential to damage the very core of our institution for years, possibly decades to come. If the event ecosystem of the Stampede fails, it will crush one of the marquee tourism events in Canada, one of the cornerstones of the hospitality industry in Canada, and frankly, the spirits of many in my community. In the same way that Calgarians refused to let the water, the mud, and the debris defeat us in 2013, we will not allow the decimation of our jobs in the energy sector or this virus to permanently harm one of the biggest cultural events in our country. We must not allow this to happen. You must not allow this to happen. My province has done so much for Canada. I feel you owe my people a solid. To date, you have refused to give the workers of my province and of its most prominent industry the support that they need, and I will continue to press you on that. But today, I am pleading with you and your government to use every mechanism possible to help offset the potential financial crisis situation the Calgary Stampede faces. Thousands of jobs, hundreds of businesses, and the spirit of our community are at stake. The Stampede has always prided itself on being a self-sustaining institution, but a complete shutdown of over 1,000 events that the Calgary Stampede hosts in any given year, coupled with the decimation of virtually every part of the Alberta economy, has put that status into question. I need you to give them what they need to survive. As the Calgary Stampede would say, we are greatest together, and together we can help Calgary emerge through this current darkness to a bright future together. I ask for your help, your support, and a sign that you care about my community. Through high water, and now through hell, Michelle. So Trudeau, you need to help the Calgary Stampede. You need to help the workers in the energy sector. You need to get over your ideology and bring this country together, because there's a lot at stake. And for those of you who are listening, the other question here is very simply put. We need to reopen the economy. It is not acceptable that the only plan that the government has is continued bailout, continued ballooning of our debt, continuing mortgaging of our future. The question of how we can contain COVID and relaunch the economy is not a binary question. There are ways to do this. Other countries are doing this. I refuse to accept that event after event, business after business has to continue to fail because of this government's lack of planning, lack of looking at what other governments are doing, lack of foresight and ideology, where the first instinct of legislators in their position is to make people reliant on the government. The cancellation of the Calgary Stampede, yes, I get it, it's COVID. We need to flatten the curve. We need to keep people healthy and safe. But what's happening in my province is bigger than that. We were facing an economic crisis long before COVID, and it was precipitated by this government. Things need to change. We need to reopen the economy safely. And Justin Trudeau, you need to help the Calgary Stampede. Not in 3 weeks, not in months, today. Working hard for you. Have a great day.